Welcome back to another episode of Irontown's Engineering, guys. On this one we're going to be carrying on with the BOP2, just a little bit more. So on the last episode you saw, we got it sat how we wanted it to sit. Now begins the actual work. We are going to be ripping her down completely, just like the yellow one, in order to start refreshing a lot of areas that are neglected. So I want it yellow. I want it yellow like the other one. I think yellow is awesome. The yellow, the silver, the white, everything. I think that is just incredible. I think it's just like the 80s colours and all that. I really want it yellow. The red is all right. It's just not what I want for this bike. So we're going to be ripping everything off, getting it painted yellow like the rusty one is. And we're going to be going through both piles of parts just to basically see what we've got, what we need, and yeah, what we want to refresh and pick the best of both batches. So one of the first things we've got to do is get the engine and the whole rear assembly out again. But what I want to do first is remove this bracket again, this luggage bracket, whatever you want to call it. We'll get that off again because that is going to be completely gone. We're not having that. I need to find somewhere else for the lights, so whether or not I mount the lights on the frame or whether or not I change the light completely for a small motorcycle one, it doesn't really matter. The thing's not going to be on the road again, but I do, if the lights are there, I'd rather have them working. So we're going to do that as well. But yeah, let's get that off, get the tank off, the seats off, everything blown apart, and then what we can do is start freshening everything up. Another reason we've got to get a bit of a move on now is it's now the 2nd of January, so the Christmas holidays are pretty much done. Everything is now getting ready for 2026 show season. I wasn't intending to start my show season quite so soon, but Fastcar got in contact with me and they want the Sora at Jap Fest at Silverstone on April the 19th. Now I'm still waiting for my wheels, my new set of wheels to come for the Sora, but with that new set of wheels I need to make PCD adapters, new ones, because they're 4x100 not 4x114 like the spacers I've made before. So I need to make a new set of spacers, and then depending on how they sit I need to potentially re-lip them and refurbish the wheels. So that's not leaving a lot of time. I've been told they're in the UK. I got told on the 23rd of December that they are here, but because of Christmas everything's been delayed. But once they're here, I'm getting on with that. And also as well, I'm waiting still for the panels for my workshop. Once they're here as well, which is mid to late January, I'll be starting on that as well. So there's not really a lot of time to get this BOP2 done, realistically. So we need to really get a move on within the next couple of weeks and potentially have it running by the end of the month. So let's stop waffling and get on with it. You didn't really think I was going to let you watch me rip apart another BOP, did you? Nah. So let's skip forward, this one in pieces, and get on with the restoration.
A few moments later.
Oh, things were going so well as well. That's all that's left of the red bike now. So we've got things set out on the table. So these are going to go silver. We need to redo these silver. Wheels going to go silver. We're going to do this black. That's just horrible and crusty. We've got the red frame. We've got the red fork covers. We've got the red headlight. We're going to be doing that. We're also going to be doing the tank yellow as well. So that'll be over there as well. So that's what we know we're painting at the minute. But we've now just run across this little problem with the engine. So I didn't really know if this engine ran or worked or anything. I know it doesn't run because bits have been taken off it. Bits have been taken off it and put in the bucket. Right, so there's bits in there. Great. Don't know if it was all there, whatever. This side is like this. So I thought, I better just check to see if this engine is all right. So the first thing I wanted to check, just to make sure if it was all right, is the kickstart. because obviously if the kickstart goes round how it's meant to, and it sends the piston up and down, and you can hear or feel that it's got vague amount of compression, fantastic. Big hurdle out of the way, then you can test the compression, blah, 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 blah. We've done it with that one. But when we went to do it on this one, this happens. Notchy as hell, and the kick actually comes out a bit, and nothing is rotating. Only until you get right to the bottom. So there is something wrong. There's something wrong there. I also noticed that these screws have been undone, and other bits and pieces have been undone. Obviously it's missing a load of stuff, so maybe this engine had problems. Now, when you're around this side, you can get things moving, get things all like moving as they should look. So you can see that bits are engaging as they should to turn the shaft. Fantastic. I did have it a minute ago where I got the whole thing to go, and you can feel the compression in the cylinder. You can feel the piston moving and then coming back down. So I think the engine itself is probably all right, but the kickstart has had it. So it doesn't look like there's an easy way to find out if something's happened with the kickstart. So what we're going to have to do is remove the shaft and the rear wheel. We're going to have to do that anyway, because they've got to be painted and everything anyway. But then that'll make it easier to get this engine up on a bench, and we can start taking it apart. This one, like you say, scruffier than the other, but give it one of them, and as you can hear, because it ain't got a spark plug in it, you can hear the compression, or you can hear the piston moving at least. So yeah, we might have to Frankenstein an engine. Not really what I wanted at this stage, but it's what it is when you're working with these old bikes and you can't seem to get anything for it. So let's get this all stripped down and the engine on the bench and see if we can find out what's wrong with that kickstart. So we've got the engine stripped down to this. So as you can see here, this is the half gear that controls the kickstand. So that's kickstart. So the idea is kick that down, it engages the gear here, it turns the whole engine, poof, engine starts up. That's the idea behind it. Now these are the gears that it connects to. So you have this very strangely cut gear in there, which is what turns, and then you have this gear here which meshes this mouth with the top one of this gear. Now they don't look ridiculously chewed up, they're still engaging quite well, there's not a lot of gap in between either of them. But the thing that I did notice with this is this weld is abnormally big, and if you turn the engine on its side, there is play, visible play in the shaft with the kickstand. Now, if that kickstand comes, why do I keep saying kickstand? Kickstart. If that is pushed forward like this, it might just be running on the outside of the gear, which means it will not engage as it's meant to. I don't know if someone snapped that at some point, which it does look like they have. That's what I'm seeing here. And then what they've decided to do is just try and weld that on as best they can in the position to get it to work again. And it's just not, because obviously this moves. If that was locked that way, then it'd probably be fine. But the fact that it moves like this is not great. So what I'm going to do just to see if that is what it is I'm going to get that engine up here as well, and I'm just going to compare it. And if that turns out to be what I think it is, I'll think of a way to fix this, either cutting this off and actually welding it in the correct place, or making a spacer for the kickstart back that way so that it actually engages the gear.
A few moments later.
That is the weld that's in that engine. And that is the weld what's in the proper engine. That is a beautiful weld. That is a slug. So yeah, someone has broke that off of the shaft and then got their mate to weld that on there, and their mate, don't get me wrong, he's laid a weld. It's not bird shitty, but it's a slug. It's too big. And that means that this bit with the spring does not fit back over it. So that's probably the problem they had. They probably went to put all that back in and they couldn't because of that. So what we're now going to do, I'm going to put this one back together because now we know. And then what we're going to do is get this kick start shaft out of here and then redo this weld. It's always good practice as well, if you're ever doing this, to get the fucking sprocket in line with the shaft. Like that isn't. Not really sure if you could see it here, but that is not in line with the shaft. It's cocked up like that, and it's also cocked up like that. So I'm gonna take this to work. We'll cut that all off and we'll get it welded properly. There we go, much more presentable weld, holding that onto there. So if we take the plastic thing, got to be careful with it because the weld's still quite hot. See if it fits. Get the right way around first. Yep, fits on there, lovely. Great, so now we can put all the spring and everything back in it as well. So wait for that to cool down, then we'll get the rest of the engine out and reassemble the whole thing.
One eternity later.
Right, so we had that small problem. Right? This bushing thing was broken. All that is broken. So the problem that we had was when that was on there, or like that, how it's meant to be, when you actually use the kickstart, it'd go round when it wasn't meant to, and then it'd start grinding on the gear. So we have made another one using a 3D printer. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be strong enough, but we know that it fits how it's meant to, so hopefully it will be strong enough. But let's put this all back together and see.
More moments later.
And it works. So might be a bit hard to show you on here. Put that on there like that, and then pull the kickstart down. Then it's turning the engine and then returning like it's meant to. So that works. So now the engine is basically all back together. Now we can put the top bit back on it. So managed to find online gasket kit. So we're going to use the big paper gasket. We're also going to use some RTV silicone sealant. So we'll clean all this up, sand this all back, bead of sealant round there, gasket, another bead of sealant, cover back on, bosh. Then we're able to scrub this and all get it ready for repainting. So engine is now all back together. Now that was a bit unexpected, to be fair. I kind of expected to just play around with just a little bit and it'd be fine, not have to repair the kickstand and bits and pieces like I did. So we're turning this one into a bit of an episode anyway, because it was only meant to be part of an episode, but it dragged on way too long. So this is a new episode. So next step with this engine is going to be completely degreasing it, painting it all up, everything like that, just getting it ready for going back to go back on the bike. Everything else is currently being painted and sorted and all that, so the engine is no exception. I cannot put that back on like it is. It is going to be completely degreased, completely cleaned, and then painted up again so it looks grand and brand new. So once again, guys, cheers for watching this episode of Iron Talons Engineering. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that, and hopefully by the summer we will actually have a BOP ready for the little scooter parades that we do at shows. But in that meantime, I've also got to make a trailer or something for the Sora to get it somewhere, but that's another episode. So anyway, cheers for watching, guys. See you later.